Welcome along to WD18, the Watford fan channel. Hope you're all doing fantastically well, Hornets. Big day yesterday to Bristol. I've never been to Bristol before. It was my first time to the city. I really liked it. A lot going on. Watford were playing, obviously. We brought back a point, so we'll take that. On today's stream, myself, Jacob, Sam, Charlie to discuss the game. We're going to touch a little bit on the WD18 Cup, which we announced today as well. A few transfer rumours flying about. I know people in the live chat are already mentioning one in particular about Mita Rivic. So stay tuned, get involved in the live chat, leave a like on the video, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And if you're listening on audio, make sure to leave a review. Now that's out the way. Sam, how was your day yesterday, mate? How was your away day?
Great day out. Loved it. I did Bristol City away last year. It was again a draw, 0-0, but it was a fantastic day out, and just thought we have to do that again. We did it with all the Brummie-Orns, including a few first timers as well, who really enjoyed their day out as well. In terms of the game, it was a bit of a weird game. We'll come on to it. I think it was almost an eventful but also non-eventful game at the same time, where I think a draw was probably fair, but. No, really enjoyed it. Still very, very happy with how the season's going, and looking forward to talking about it.
If you haven't seen Sam's matchday TikTok, make sure you go and give that a watch. There was quite a few drinks consumed, I think, on the away day, so you can see a bit of behind the scenes action there. Charlie, we didn't make. So if you remember the last stream, we didn't make the like target of 200 likes, and Charlie didn't make the trip to Ashton Gate. But Charlie, how was it watching from afar, mate?
Yeah, it took me a while to find a legit and a totally legal stream, but I did right after our goal, and just as they were kind of piling on, I felt like I turned on, and Watford were just doing all we can to try and concede, and obviously we did to Scott Twine, which was the most predictable thing ever to happen. But after that, I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good tactical battle. I thought Liam Manning, really good coach. You could see him trying to exploit our fullbacks in Morris and Andrews. We had massive chances with Espria. Second half, if we were a bit more clinical or a bit more savvy, I think we could edge out something. I'm proud of the boys for digging in and getting a point, because it felt like in the last 10 they were coming right on top. But I quite enjoyed it. I know Sam said he thought it was a bit of a nothing game, but I think Sam was right when we spoke earlier. It was a proper championship game, but I thought two really well-coached teams, and I quite enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, it was a proper championship game. And it was also a game that I think we would have lost last season when I came away.
That has got to be on the bingo card for like every video. we would have lost that game last year.
We would
have lost it last season, wouldn't we? I mean, the thing is, look, we'll go through the game in more detail, but I came away from it going, particularly second half, we were under the cosh, I thought, a little bit. And obviously we had the clearance off the line from Livermore. Hayne made a good save. Even though maybe Bristol City, I think the XG in the end was 1.3 to Watford, 1.4 to Bristol City. I think on the whole, I thought a draw was genuinely a fair result, but I do think we would have lost that last season. Mate, correct me if I'm wrong. That was the feeling I got coming away from Ashton Gate, Sam.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a great spot, Charlie, to be fair. I think everyone needs to sort of get a WD18 bingo card going. Let us know what should be in there. It used to be my love for Etienne Capoue. I used to bring that up in every single stream. But yeah, no, I think a point 100% was a fair result. There were moments where Bristol City were on top for large parts of that second half, and I did come away from it. I think you're right, Jacob. There was that feeling that I think it was a good point. But at the same time, I do think Watford could have gone for it a bit more in the second half and perhaps been a bit, take the handbrake off a bit more. I know if you do that, there was going to be space in behind for the likes of Twine to get in behind. But I do feel they were there for the taking of it. I did think they looked a bit shaky at the back at times. Perhaps could have given Bio on another 5-10 minutes earlier. I didn't think some players had the best games either, to be honest with you, which I think, particularly in the first half, the likes of Espria, I don't think had the best game, to be honest with you, when I think we could have nicked one or two more against Bristol City.
Scored in the first half, hasn't he?
Got to score that, yeah.
I'll see what he did against Norwich.
Yeah, well, yeah. Just roll it round the goalkeeper, the heavy touch. But yeah, I'm not disappointed at all. I think it's definitely a point gained. If you asked me for a point before, I probably would have taken it. And we're still firmly in the hunt for the playoff places.
Yeah, I think in the previous show, Charlie, didn't we? We all said we'd take a point. I think you specifically said get a point and get out of there. So it's 1 point gain rather than two dropped, would you say? Even though we went ahead?
Yeah, no, I just think I thought they're a really good team. They beat West Ham earlier in the week. I don't know about you guys, but looking at on on the stream, their fans look so disinterested, sitting on the seats, freezing their nuts off. I don't know. Obviously, I think the away fans were brilliant, but the Bristol City fans looked like they were bored to death.
I'll tell you what, it was one of the quietest home atmospheres I've been to this season. I can't lie, which no dig of them. I was just quite surprised because I know they took 9,000 to West Ham the other week, and maybe there was an element of it coming a bit down to earth after beating West Ham in midweek, and it was very cold as well, but it was very quiet, to be fair.
I think also to mention just about the atmosphere, one thing I would say, Bristol City's pre-match tunes were on point. It was just banger after banger, and it was getting me pumped for the game. 2,600 Watford fans at Ashton Gate, which is a fantastic turnout. Really, really good stuff. I think I saw a picture of that away, and obviously you get the whole section, which caught me off guard, and it looked great, and the atmosphere was great as well. The only thing I would say about that's that ground, some people would start a chant on the left, and some other people would start a chant on the right, and when you have like a bit of crossover, and then you get the chant of left side, left side, left side, give us a song, here's the right side, it's the right side. So that went on for about 5 minutes. Yeah, in terms of the atmosphere, Sam, I agree with you. I think there was probably an element of them coming off the West Ham game and it not being maybe the same magnitude of fixture. But just from a Watford perspective, going back onto to yesterday, let's just go straight from the start with the lineup. So Watford named their same formation under Valérien Ismaël with Ben Hamer in goal, Ryan Andrews, Ryan Porteous, Wesley Hoot, James Morris making up the back five with Jake Livermore in front, Yasser Asprilla, Chatford Detsy on the wings with Kone and Deli Bashir in front of Livermore, and then Mita Rivic up front. We mentioned on the preview show, Sam, about Bayo coming back in. Was that the position that surprised you with Val's team selection?
I think so, yeah. I wouldn't say surprised. It's just what I would have done in terms of bringing Bayo back in there. I actually thought Rivic had a quite good game yesterday, to be honest with you, in terms of holding the ball up and managed to win a few flick-ons as well. But again, it was sort of, if you're not getting the ball to him, I think like in and around the 6-yard box, he struggles to really make anything happen. Whereas when Bayo came on, I know he didn't really create too much or have any real opportunities, but I did think a sense of urgency was there a bit more than when Rivic was on there. So yeah, I do think that we've said about whether it's, we would say whether it's Healy, Rivic or Bayo. Now it's between Bayo, Rivic, and hopefully bring someone else in, because I think, again, yesterday, I think it was apparent that we needed someone who could perhaps run in behind a bit more and also create for themselves as well when they're feeding off scraps. Let's
touch on Rivic, Charlie. There's a few comments in the comment section. One from Adams. There's been links with Rivic to Ipswich and Blackburn under John Dole Thomason, who's also a fellow Dane. And also I was speaking to my dad actually. Thomason was a very similar player in the sense that not obviously played a much higher level than Rivic, but like quite liked balls in the air, was a bit of a physical presence. You could see why he would like someone like Rivic. But Adam in the comment section says, Adam Tomlinson, 4 million for Rivic. I'll drive him anywhere myself for that sort of money. 5 million profit in 6 months from him and Healy would be really good business. You flipped that with Simon Barnes. He said, I think you have to give Rivic more time. He was playing amateur football until relatively recently. I think we will regret it if we sell him. Luan's another game for Rivic where he didn't have a shot. Charlie, keep or sell Mita Rivic in this transfer window?
But I'd kind of disagree with what Sam said in terms of he had a decent game. I didn't think his link up was great. Accurate passes, he had 7 out of 12, 58%. Luan saying he hasn't had a shot. I didn't think he was that effective. Didn't have his best game yesterday. On the other side, like I think we tweeted an article like a couple of weeks back with Rivic with a Danish company, and he kind of said, look, he was living with his parents recently, like he's literally come from non-league football in Denmark or Sweden, and now he's playing in the second tier in the Premier League in England. So I think for what we've got, you pay for what you get, and I do like him as a character. I think we've got to play to his strengths a bit more in terms of crosses. But in terms of would I sell him or would I keep him, for the right price, you'd sell anyone. I honestly do not believe any of these reports linking him away. I think if you think about the clubs, what analysts they have, I think if you actually drill down and look at what Rivic did for Watford, they don't just go, how many goals has he scored? Oh, let's get a goal scorer. It's a lot more kind of intricate than that. If anyone's paying any money over 2 million plus, I think I may sell him, but I just honestly don't believe that anyone's interested, but I may be wrong. look, I think the club have said quite openly, and Val said after Healy left, that we're looking to bring someone in, which I think is quite exciting. We spoke about in the last video. But I don't think Rivic is going anywhere, and I quite like him as a player if we use him the right way. We've talked about bringing him on in games when we're chasing. I think that's how we can best utilise him. But I can't see him going anywhere in January. But if the price was right, yeah, I'd absolutely sell him.
There's a real split in the comment section. Some people are saying they don't love him, but Sam, they'd give him a chance. Some people are saying that they really aren't a fan of Rivic. Lou Orns in the comment section, the Blackburn link doesn't shock me. Spoke to Luke Griffin, head of recruitment at Blackburn, and he said they wanted him in the summer, but to play in a 2. Said we've misprofiled him massively. Have Watford misprofiled Mita Rivic?
I think so, yeah. It's interesting because I think sort of they probably looked at Val's description and looked at, let's get the biggest striker in that we can at the cheapest price possible. Who's a goal scorer, and I think he has proven he can score goals. But I just think in the Championship, I picked up on his debut when I think he scored 2 goals against Coventry. But I don't think he's physical enough, to be honest with you. For a very big unit, I don't think he necessarily uses his body well enough. But I would say we have misprofiled him. Definitely, I think he's someone who probably needs to play in the 2. The irony is, Reece Healy is probably someone who would have benefited playing in the 2 as well. But on the flip side of that, we're playing in a system at the moment that's clearly effective, particularly for the midfielders. The likes of Kone, Shakatatsy, Livermore, Dele Bashiru, I think are all playing well at the moment in the midfield 3. And I don't think you can change the whole team and the whole shape just to accommodate one player who wants to play in the front 2. So, yeah, I do think it's an element that we sort of learned from this. And Val's found his best team now, or the best shape that he wants to play in. It's about finding a striker who matches that profile. Unfortunately, I don't think it is Mita Rivic.
Sorry, just one thing that might come into the equation is you have seen Blackburn's Sam Gallagher linked away this window. It was previously Ipswich, but now Birmingham look like they're really interested. So he's a similar kind of striker, so they could need a replacement. So everything I said previously might be absolute rubbish.
I just got Rivic's stats up here. So his last goal in a Watford shirt came against Chesterfield in the FA Cup. His last league goal actually came with the team that are linked with Rivic, which was Blackburn away in that 2-1 win. I look at his sort of goal-scoring records, and I think it's 8 goals for him so far in the league this season. 2 against Coventry, 1 against Birmingham, 1 against Millwall, 2 against Rotherham, 1 against Norwich, and then 1 against Blackburn in the league. I think the question I always have over Rivic is, if he doesn't score, what does he offer you? Now, I side with Charlie on yesterday, Sam. I felt that his link-up was pretty anonymous. I felt that off the ball, he didn't really kind of look like he didn't really know when to press. And when he did press, it was at the wrong time a little bit. That might be a bit harsh, but I just feel that if you're going to play a lone striker, you need him to hold up the ball and bring others into play. And he doesn't do that, especially when you have 2 wingers with Asprilla and Chakfadetsi who cut inside. They rely on that focal point in the middle to bring them into the game. And look, I think that's always the question mark. There's no arguments that Rivic is a good finisher, but is he a good striker? That's the distinction I think you've got to make. But the only thing I will say is, Sam, do we have to give him a bit more time? Is it too quick after 6 months, after the rise he's had from playing amateur football? He even admitted himself, as Charlie mentioned in an interview, that it's going to take time for him to adapt to the Championship. It does normally take players who've come over from the lower league, especially abroad as well, to take time to adapt to the game. Do you think maybe the expectation has played a factor about whether Watford fans rate Rivic?
I think there's 2 elements of expectation to it. Firstly, is the expectation of this season. If we're looking to get playoffs, to see someone who's going to fire us to the top 6, I'd probably say no, to be honest with you. In terms of expectations of him, I didn't know much about him before, but I would say he's exceeded his own expectations with the goals that he scored already. I think, again, it comes down to the misprofiling of the player, because what's the point in trying to give him time if he's simply not that player who's going to fit into the system? There's nothing against him, but there's no point in trying to make him something that he's not, if that makes sense. And if we can get a good amount of money for him, 4 million with what's being reported.
Billion?
Is it million? It was being reported.
You said billion.
Billion. I meant million. I wish it was billion.
Tell you what, 4 billion, I'll drive him to Blackburn.
We can only wish. It's what that man now. 3 or 4 million pounds. I think you have to cash in, to be honest with you, with the output that we've got and try and upgrade. Something else that I think has frustrated me, I think, in a way as well, is that I kind of like a striker who is quite good at feeding off scraps. When I think yesterday was a really tough game for him to play in.
I agree.
Because I've seen a lot of games. But I look at the likes of Igalo, who was able to feed off scraps and was able to create something out of nothing. Even Troy Deeney, to an extent, I think was like that. And I just feel at times when things aren't going his way, not as an attitude problem, but I just think at times he struggles to work his way into games, whereas other strikers I think we've seen have done that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Charlie, 4 million. I guess the question would be, or 4 billion.
4 billion.
Will we ever get a better price for Mita Rivic? I know that's hypothetical, but the ceiling, do you think 4 million is almost too good to turn down?
Of course it is. Snap your hand off. I just can't see it. Like, I think you guys have convinced me since this stream a bit more that Blackburn might be interested, and I can see why playing with a 2, etc. But yeah, how much do we pay for him? 1 million, up to 1 million. If we can get 2 million, and people say about, he's only been here a while, do we need to give enough time? Same amount of time as Reece Healey, really. Reece started for us against QPR. We got a massive profit on him. It'd be, look, you know the Pozzos, they like a good deal. They like to make profit. If they get an offer, I'm sure they'll take it. And look, every player wants to be somewhere where they're loved and what's suited to them. So maybe we're not the right place for him. I do like him as a good character. And I do think there's a place for him when we are chasing games. But yeah, 4 million, I can't see it myself. But if we do get an offer of 2.2, 2.5, 3, snap your hand off. But again, we need that replacement. We've got a week and a bit. So I'm hoping that someone's going to come out of absolutely nowhere. I think it could be an exciting end to the window for Watford fans for a change.
Yeah. Sorry, Sam.
Yeah, just on the end of the window. I don't know if you wanted to touch on the rest of the game first, but I do think there's been a shift in tone in the last few weeks with what we're hearing about this transfer window.
What do you mean by that, Sam?
I think previously, I know we've lost 3 players now with 2 players with Imran Louza and Healey going out, potentially Rivic as well. But a lot of the time it was, and we knew, I think, that it would be 1 player out, 1 player in, rather than just signing players and to make the squad bigger. But it does seem that the intensity now of rumours are ramping up now as well. What Valerian Ismail saying in terms of replacements, in terms of previously it was, look, we'll see what business we can do. Now it's, we're all working night and day at the moment to bring in these replacements. I think there has been a shift in tone, which I think is interesting. Maybe it's something to do with the fact that we've realised we are in a really good position in the table to potentially make a playoff push. So, yeah, I mean, I do think it is going to be a really busy next couple of weeks for Watford.
You look at that table now, Charlie, 9th in the league, 28 games, 40 points after the draw away at Bristol City, which we'll get back onto in just a moment. But we've kind of made a tangent to this transfer window and expectations. Have they adjusted slightly now, as Sam said, that we're in a good position in the league?
I'm just looking at the league table now. 3 points off Coventry in 6th. Me personally, I don't think we should take any risks. I don't think we should put down 4 billion or 4 million on anyone in the window to go all for nothing to try and get into playoffs. I don't want to bring in any bad eggs. We've got a really good thing going for us. Look, if we miss out on the playoffs, I don't think it's the end of the world. We've created something really good this season. It all depends about Gino. Obviously, we've got the takeover stuff going on in the background, which obviously we've done videos about. Make sure you check those out. But that might be thinking Gino can get another X amount of million from the deal. I don't know. But I think everything that we're hearing about, I think we'll be smart about it. I think Val, it looks like he's got a lot of power in the decisions, and I don't think a player will go through that he's not happy with. So if Val says yes to a player, I'm 100% backing him. We shall see. My expectations still aren't to be in the playoffs yet. I don't think we're consistent enough. And again, just look at the running that we've got. We've got a lot of tough teams to play. So I still think if we can finish where we are now, we'd have had an excellent season.
Yeah, agreed. And I also think there's an element of the squad depth as well. I do think sometimes if we get a suspension or an injury in some of the positions, I think we might be a little bit like right back's a prime example. You know, if Andrews gets injured, we're in trouble. You'd have to probably play an out of position Porteous, or Pollock has to come in there. So we do have quite a thin squad. I know Ishmael likes it that way for team morale, and yeah, I'm also of the opinion that I don't want us to just get someone in for the sake of it. I think we've made that error so many times over the last few seasons. You know, we would have lost that game last season. But the one thing I would
some names.
No, I mean, look, no names. But one thing I would say about
Solomon Kalou.
The thing I would say is we've made the mistake of just getting players in because we need a player or we need to get someone in. And sometimes you get away with it. You know, I think someone like Kayembe, for example, when we brought him in, we needed a centre mids. We got him in. You know, he's turned out to be a great signing. But then you have a Samuel Kalou who's gone on to play one game against us in a dead rubber against Everton. You know, there's both sides of the coin there. So that's one thing to look forward to or think about going forwards with this transfer window. Just a couple of comments before we get back onto the Bristol City game. And let us know what you think about your expectations. Have they changed after our recent form? Do you see us as a playoff team that needs to go big in the market? It sounds like from what we're reading, Valère and Ishmael is not. It's very much a one out, one in policy with Reece Healy, for example. If Healy goes, we're going to bring in a striker. Who that's going to be, we'll have to wait and see. Philip Crouch says, if the club are putting a value on him, then there must be something in the rumours. Clubs know we need a striker going to increase the price. We won't stay where we are if we just relying on Bayo. Charlotte Gibson, the squad is really tight at the moment. We only want to bring in the right sort of players. We should avoid rash or knee-jerk buys this window. Completely agree. Alex says, on Rivic, fair play to him. He scored a couple of goals, but we're a team whose striker doesn't have to be the main source of goals, as we have goals coming from all over the pitch. It's another fantastic comment. What's happened with Keane?
I wanted to pick up on that comment there because I know it's very, very different. I do agree. I think it's great to see that we've got goal coming from all over the pitch. But if you look at some of the promotion-winning teams in recent years, and I know you say, Charlie, how the expectation isn't playoffs. I think with the position that we are in the table, I think we have to take ourselves seriously. To be honest with you, if we can put a good run of form together like we have now, then we've got a brilliant chance of finishing in the top 6. But you look at some of the teams who've got promoted, they've got some fantastic. They've had brilliant strikers over the years. You look at Dom Solanke at Bournemouth, Ivan Toney at Brentford. Even this year, you got at Southampton, they have Armstrong. And I just think, I just even last year with that team up the road, they had Morrison and Adebayo. And I just think we are one top striker away from being an excellent side.
Yeah, let us know who you think we should be going for. Some striker suggestions. Obviously, we are going to bring one in according to Ishmael and according to the Watford's official website. Back onto yesterday, guys. Bristol City 1, Watford 1. We did a little bit of a tangent. We started with the game, went to transfers, went to Rivic chat, and back to transfer, and now we're back to Bristol City Watford. Sam, the way I saw yesterday, and let us know in the comment section. First 30 minutes, thought we were great. I felt we lost a little bit of control after the goal. Second half, Bristol City probably shaded it. Having said that, we looked quite promising on the counter-attack. But I wanted to touch on the 2 goals. So we'll do one each. So Sam, you take the penalty, your view of it. Do you remember it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since we spoke about penalty as well, to be fair. I wasn't that drunk.
All I'm going to say is I saw Dragon Soup and Stella, and I thought that's not a good combination. But the penalty, it was the first penalty Watford have been awarded in 371 days. What was the last penalty, Sam?
It was a Ismaila Sarr against Blackpool, I think it was, when me and Charlie were eating prawn sandwiches in the hospitality box. That's a great day.
I mean, very rare that a ref, especially at this level, when there's no VAR, gives a decision like that. There was no complaints from the Bristol City players. Watford players kind of looked a little bit surprised as well. But I guess there was no complaints. I don't think anyone can argue it was a penalty. But Tom Dele-Bashiru on it, was that the man you thought would be taking our penalties this season?
I was so surprised. I was thinking, is that Tom Dele taking it? I was thinking, oh, is it maybe he's just holding the ball and then he's going to walk away or something like that? But fair play to Tom. It was an absolutely brilliant penalty right in the corner. I did think the goalkeeper was about to save it. But it was in that area of the goal where no one was going to get there. If he's been doing that in training, then fair play. I can definitely see why he was on penalty kicks. Yeah, I thought we started the game really brightly, like you said, Jacob. I think it was from a free kick. We managed to get in from around the halfway line that went off a Bristol City hand. I think, at least from the away end where I was, because I was sort of to the side, I think there was a bit of confusion actually from the away end, because again, the Watford players looked a bit confused, you said, Jacob, when it was given, and the Bristol City players were just sort of accepted it. So sort of the game almost at times sort of stood still for a moment, and then Tom Daly was able to put it away. I did think because we started so well, there was an opportunity, like I said, to kick on and perhaps get a second goal, which we didn't. And that sort of all our pressure all sort of ended when Bristol City scored. So Charlie, thoughts on their goal?
Just before that, I just wanted to highlight Tom Daly. I thought he was excellent yesterday. You couldn't tackle him in a phone box. What he was doing in tight areas was unbelievable. He was evading like 3 or 4 of their men and just breaking away. We talked about Ishmael Kone a lot of the time, but they're actually pretty similar. I think Kone's got a bit of an extra burst of pace, but Tom Daly's tight control is exceptional. Really good comment there from Geordie, talking about Tom Daly being really our best player technically, product of Man City Academy, which doesn't surprise you. So I'm really happy for Tom. I hope he continues to do it. And yeah, when I jumped onto my stream, it just felt like Watford, our build-up was absolutely shocking. We couldn't get out. Their defensive shape was really good, and their press just had us on toast a bit. And it just felt like it was inevitable. We were giving away chances. And yeah, I think the one we gave away, Porteous kind of lost the tackle, and then Ben Hamer actually made a really, really good save. And then, yeah, kind of Jake Livermore, I don't know if he could have done better or didn't expect it, but Scott Twine rose above him and got there. And Ben Hamer, agonisingly close with that spectacular save. He's box office, Ben Hamer. He's a cult hero. But yeah, I think after that, we actually settled down and got a bit more control in the game. So I thought it was a mad 5 or 10 minutes from us conceded, which I do think we've conceded now in the last 12, 13 games. So we need a clean sheet sooner rather than later. But after that, I thought we got a bit more control in the game.
I'm sure everyone saw Ben Hamer go viral yesterday for that dive past the post. Actually, something I picked up on Hamer, and I don't know if anyone else at the game saw this. I got in quite early. I got in at 2 p.m, so I saw all the warm-ups. And you're probably thinking, get a life, Jake. But I was watching I was studying the warm-ups, kind of like doing the Jurgen Klopp, where you watch the opposition warm-ups. And I was watching the keeper's warm-up, and Hamer made a save to his left-hand side. Basically, he tweaked his glute, and he was hobbling around a little bit, and he tweaked it clearly. And then he spoke to the goalkeeper coach, and I'm thinking at this point, he looks a bit like he's done something here. He might be taken out, and Backman will have to come in anyway. Game starts, etc. He then felt the same area after that save you were talking about, Charlie, where he dived past the post, and for about the rest of that first half, I'm sure he'll admit it as well. He was.
Have you done yours?
I don't know why. I don't know why I'm holding it while I'm explaining this. But yeah, anyway, he was holding.
Brilliant acting.
He was holding his left glute, and effectively, I was just thinking. I think Hamer played that game with a knock. I'm pretty certain of it. I mean, it might be some information that people find interesting, but I saw it in the warm up. He then, after that save, saw it as well. Sam, onto that goal. I need to stop holding my left glute. What did you make of Ryan Porteous getting a lot of scrutiny for his actions in that goal? Because there was something similar that happened maybe a couple of minutes before, where he should have cleared his lines. Got lucky that didn't lead to more of an opportunity. He then did it again. It's kind of disappointed, but not surprised for me.
It was the most Ryan Porteous game I've ever seen, I think.
Yeah.
He's just so rash sometimes, where he doesn't need to be, or overly aggressive. And I think that aggression sometimes takes him out of games, like we saw yesterday. I still think he's just so seeing physio for cultural in the comments. Sorry. Just the way you're holding your glutes there.
Oh God!
Sorry. I think there's such a potential there for proper Rolls Royce of a defender, but sometimes he's just his own worst enemy. I think, because he just wants to get too involved in the play and runs too close to defenders, to the other team's attackers.
Do you not think he's getting instructed to do that? I thought yesterday, a lot of the time, and you've seen it so often this season, where he is man marking, and if they're midfielder, he is going to take it. And I think that's because if he wins it, he's decent on the ball, and literally the turnover, we could start an attack from it. He's definitely being told to kind of go in. It isn't him just ignoring instructions. Otherwise, he wouldn't be playing. Simple as that. I think that's something that Val is trying to do. That kind of man marking, nick the ball high up, play it, and we're on the counter attack.
I think
I understand that. I understand that, Charlie. The bit I don't understand is why, when you clear your lines, he's trying to play like an intricate pass towards his own goal. It's just like it doesn't really make any sense for me, Sam. I know you were going to jump in there. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, but I do. I think there is certainly. I can't remember his game when I was with you, Charlie, when we were just sort of tracking Porteous. I think it was Ipswich, and I can't remember who was man marking then, but we were thinking at times like there was one point where he was, I think, one of our furthest players forward because he was just man marking his player. I think there is an element of that, but I also think it's a trait of Porteous' game where he is just sometimes incredibly rash or too overly aggressive, like we saw yesterday. It's a trait that we even saw last season before Valérien Ismaël came in at times. I think even then, though, that if you are being told to man mark a player, sometimes I think he's just when that player picks up the ball. For example, yesterday Scott Twine, I think it was, he was marking. There was just times where he went in way too quickly, and Twine was easily able to get behind him for it. So it doesn't shock me if it is something that Val's telling him to do, and I think that's probably why he rotates between Sierralta and Porteous. In some games, he wants Porteous man marking, and sometimes he wants Sierralta to sit in that back four, but I think it is an area of concern for me personally that whoever it is, whether it's Val who's telling him to do so or Porteous being too aggressive, they need to look at it and address it.
One thing I would say about that goal as well, I know it's gone under the radar for his save after the goal went in, but Hamer's first save was very, very good. It actually reminded me a little bit, there's a real throwback, but Ben Foster in that 05-06 season where he used to just get everything with his feet. Ben Hamer, I mean, just quietly going about his business until the save past the post.
I think, to be honest, I know Charlie touched on it before, but for his plaudits last week, I think it's only fair to say, at least from my part, I think Livermore's got to do better. Sam, is that not just that action? Because I felt at times he was in the game, and then at other times I felt he kind of lost a little bit of his usual calmness and. Yeah, I don't know. He looked a bit leggy yesterday, to be honest with you. I think it's one of those, though, with the goal that perhaps a professional footballer would be able to say what it's actually like there. But just from looking at it, perhaps he wasn't aware that Twine was behind him and he was just waiting for Hamer to perhaps come out and claim the ball. But I was just very surprised that he wasn't challenging for it. I don't know. I'm not going to go in on Livermore because he's been absolutely fantastic for us this season. But I think he probably could have done a bit better with it.
I'm just going to wrap up some sort of final thoughts on this game, just in terms of other individuals I wanted to talk about. We mentioned Porteous. I thought Chatfordetsi looked really bright. He was one of our better players as well. I think we touched on Kone Dele-Bashiru. I think Chatfordetsi, right, is just someone who's growing by the week. And there were reports about him not being happy at Watford because he wasn't playing. And I think he's an example of actually give him a run in the team, Charlie, and you just see a player who just slowly but surely gets into his rhythm and his groove.
Yeah, he's lovely to watch, isn't he? And yeah, just more minutes. I'm sure he's going to curl one in from far out soon after beating about 5 or 6 players. He's a brilliant player. Really enjoyed his performance yesterday. And I just think, again, good squad building, the fact that we've got him to come in and he's standing up now, being part of the squad. So, yeah, really enjoyed his performance. I did think James Morris had a tough afternoon yesterday, and I think Lewis did okay when he came on. And Ryan, again, looked really dangerous going forward, and I thought he was quite solid defensively. So, yeah, I don't know if we've rounded up all the players there.
Mateus Martins off the bench, such a frustrating player. He's one of those where, like, he's got ability, but he only makes runs when he knows he's either going to get the ball or he's got the ball. Like, if he doesn't know he's going to get it, he doesn't move. So he frustrates me, Martin, because he's got bags of ability. But Tom Ince came off the bench, and Bale obviously back after his suspension. Just where that kind of leaves Watford now, lads, going into Southampton in the FA Cup, which is one of those ties that a lot of people were a bit upset about. Quietly, I'm just going to mention it quietly, could be a decent draw. If you win the next round, you're only one away from the quarterfinal. I know that's how a cup competition works, but that's ultimately where we find ourselves, Sam. Do you back us?
Quietly, I do, actually, to be honest. I think it's a great opportunity for us because A cup run on top of a strong end to the season, I think would be a fantastic improvement on what we saw last year. I think Southampton, I mean, they're on fantastic form. I think they broke their club record yesterday for the longest unbeaten run they've ever been on. So, yeah, I think perhaps they could rotate slightly more than we will. I don't think we really have the ability to rotate too much, to be honest with you, with our small squad. But I think it could be a really, really good day out. And hopefully we can get into the next round and hopefully get a more exciting draw.
Charlie,
I did watch Swansea Southampton yesterday for the Russell Martin versus Luke Williams. But Southampton give up quite a lot of chances. Swansea squandered quite a few. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how much they rotate. I think we need to keep momentum on. We've got a full week training. Quite looking forward to it.
Do you go full strength or rotate, Charlie?
Do we have a choice? I think I remember saying against, who did we play? Chesterfield. I'd have liked to see like Jack Reeves play. But I think Southampton, quite a winnable game. Do you know what I mean? Against a team our level, if we do want to play us, we need to kind of compete. But yeah, I think full strength as much as we can. Maybe get Bio back in to press them because we know they're going to be playing out for the back. They have conceded quite a few goals from mistakes through that. So yeah, I'll definitely start Bayo.
Yeah, Ian says may rest a few for the cup as they're pushing for promotion. Rio says it depends which Southampton side Russell Martin puts out. Sam, do you think Pollock will start?
No, I don't think so, to be honest with you. I think the only two notable changes that I'm predicting would be Backman to go back in goal, and I don't think he'll risk Ryan Andrews. I think he'll play Tom Daly at right back. I think those will be the only two notable changes, just because I don't think we're at liberty to take risks with Andrews. Sort of, we want him playing as many minutes as possible, but also we want to limit his minutes as much as possible unless we bring in the right back.
Melanie says bring Bayo back in. Do we have the numbers to rest players? This is a great point from Patrick, as Charlie mentions. Richie says we'd love to get the win versus Southampton. And Charlotte finally says we need to be on it from the start next weekend if we're going to make it through the round 4. Can't afford to give Southampton the momentum early on and play catch up. The only thing to do, I think we've kind of covered the main talking points about Watford yesterday. It was one of those, you take the point and you move against Bristol City. Just to wrap up today, as you might have seen on our socials, we announced that we are doing the WD18 Cup, which is our first charity football event, raising money for the Peace Hospice and Hertfordshire Mind. And we want as many Watford fans to get involved as possible. So the video with all the details on is on our socials at WD18 Fans. Very briefly, 23rd of March, West Hart Sports Club. If you want to get involved, drop us a DM on our socials at WD18 Fans. We want to see as many of you as possible. It should be a great, great day. Some special guests potentially as well. So drop us a line there if you want to get involved. Even if you don't, the link to our GoFundMe page if you'd like to donate and show your support, or even come down on the day to watch some decent football, some Valor and Ishmael ball in action, then make sure you do come down. 23rd of March, 2024. Get it in the diary at West Hart Sports Club in Watford. Lads, any final words before we wrap up? Anything I missed?
I was just going to say, Sam, what are you doing for the charity event? Are you going to be going in goal, or are you going to be refereeing?
Wow. We'll let the people decide, to be honest with you.
You're a manager these days, aren't you?
I am a manager, actually, to be fair. So if you want me to manage your team, let me know, and I will get onto that. But it's going to be a fantastic day out. It's Hertfordshire Mind is a charity that, particularly for me, it's a charity really close to my heart. We did a video a few years ago actually with them talking through the work that they do. So we'll make sure to share that out over the next few weeks as well. Come down, it'll be a brilliant family day out as well. We'll have a lot going on. See someone call me Valerian Yuko there. So absolutely love that. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
And Laura makes the point, are you accepting women and girls teams? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all ages. Anyone, I think the only specification is Watford fans, right, Charlie?
No Luton fans, that's for sure. Yeah, to be fair, look, we just want it to be an amazing day. If people, we've said about if entering a team, if you play 7 or 5-a-side, but if you are just a player and just want to come down and get involved, we're going to try and get individual people come in. We'll put people in different teams. So it's going to be a great way to kind of socialise with different Watford fans. We are hoping for some special guests and some surprises. We're hoping with the auction and raffle, there's going to be some unbelievable prizes. Sam's already told us about one today, which is exciting. And we will be giving those a chance where you can bid for those online as well. And yeah, just a great social event. Peace Hospice is one that is close to my heart, where my aunt stayed before she passed, and they do amazing work. I know Luther's an ambassador for those guys, so 2 really good charities. We're hoping to have an amazing day, raise as much money as possible, maybe head back to the Mad Squirrel afterwards for a few drinks to celebrate, but we want as many people there as possible. I will not be playing, as I'm due a hip replacement. My career is gone, but maybe if we do one after the hip replacement next year, I'll be back. But really excited for it. Make sure you get in touch. If you could retweet that tweet we did to raise awareness, we'd really appreciate it. Really looking forward to it.
Charlie on the mic, Sam managing, and I'm reffing. I think that's the vibe. So make sure, as Charlie said, check us out on our socials, that video, give it a share, give it a watch. If you want to get involved, all the details on that GoFundMe page. We'll leave a link in the description as well, so you can get involved. And thanks so much to everyone who watched today and listens. Make sure you do leave a like on the way out if you enjoyed. Subscribe to WD18, share the video across your socials, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great week, guys. Take care, and up the Hornets. You want.